Welcome to Slow Home Studio. Too many people live in badly designed houses, and we want to change that.
This is the second day of our Ask an Architect week, where we're answering viewer questions for our Design Minute segment. So remember, if you've got a question about your house or even a general question about design, please send me an email, john@slowhomestudio.com, and we're going to try to get to as many of them as we can.
And today we've got a design project of sorts. We haven't done one of these in a while, and it comes to us from Kyle, who's in Bryan, Texas. And he sent us an email and some images of his house and a floor plan. And he says, my home was built in 1956 and has undergone a few modifications in its first half century of life. The result is a house with a great deal of poorly organized space. The bulk of our growing family's time together is spent in the kitchen and large living room. I think that's pretty typical, added in the 1970s, I think. And the front den is mostly left unused. When we entertain, which we do often, there is always a huge amount of congestion in the kitchen. Sounds fairly typical.
Yes.
That happens all the time. So as I may start working from home soon, we've considered turning the front den into something sort of an office, but don't want that to be the first thing people see when they walk in the front door. And that's from Kyle from Bryan, Texas.
So what we're going to do today is just do a quick review of the plans. We're going to post the design or post the original as-built plan on our site, and any of you that want to try your hand at coming up with a solution for Kyle, feel free. And then tomorrow, Matthew and I will show you what we are going to suggest, some of the options for Kyle. So let's do a quick run through. Here's the plan itself. We'll look at it in a little bit more detail as we go through the photographs. Pretty standard post-war bungalow. We see like that with an addition on the back and a front drive garage on the front. There it is. It's actually quite a nice looking little house.
It is nice. The trees are nice. It looks like a nice lot.
And I particularly like the entrance, at least on the outside. I think that, it's very nice with that deep overhang. I used to live in Texas for a while. Yeah. I know how hot it gets, and so, I think that deep overhang is quite nice. Of course, things start to go off the rails a little bit when we go inside. And this is the entrance, and we can see that we can actually come right into what Kyle calls the den space. So this is actually the view right from the door, and we can see the chair. We can see looking down that hallway, and it's right there.
So you walk right into a principal living space.
And I actually really like this slide because you and I talk all the time about what the problem is when you have no entry.
Yeah.
And here you can see it. There we've got the door right there, and we've got a little bit of hanging right there, and the baby at the front door. But you come right into that living space, and that's a problem. Just so that everybody knows, we're looking back this way. So obviously, we need to deal with both the entry on this space as well as how to make this den into a home office.
Right. So let's look at the rest here.
Then we move to the back, and Kyle makes the comment about the living space and the kitchen being difficult. Here's the kitchen, and as you said just before we came on, that this is a kitchen with too much floor space.
There is a lot of floor space, and the other thing too is that you notice here there's this window, and this used to be a window to the outside, which now is the window into the addition, which is the main living space for the family. And this used to be, I assume, a door to the outside, but of course now it's the door into the back. So there really isn't a lot of visual connection between the two spaces. They've just basically taken the old door and the window and opened them up, but you're really looking from an interior space to an interior space.
Yeah, there hasn't been any integration of the addition into this. They're just kind of sitting beside each other.
Exactly,
right?
Yeah.
And then we can also see that there's an issue where we're coming in from the garage and coming directly into that kitchen space.
Yeah, and I understand why he would say people gather there. I mean, there is a lot of room, but there isn't that sort of connection.
No, and there's a bottleneck right there
Yeah.
about getting down into that space. This is turning around and looking the other way. So now we've got, this is the door into the garage, I'm presuming, and then this is the door that is the doorway out into the den.
Yeah.
So it's all a little tight.
It is tight, yeah.
And now we're down in the living room, so we're actually standing here and looking this way. We can see that there's the fireplace. That's what that is right there. There's one set of doors that go out, I'm presuming out to the backyard, which actually could be potentially quite nice over there in the corner like that.
Yeah, my concern here is just the lack of visual connection to the yard, and there is very limited light. You can see on the opposite side there is one small high window here, but there really isn't very much connection visually to the outside and not a lot of daylighting. And then here we're looking back, so again, we've got the door, which has a little bit of light, but overall it's a fairly dark space.
Okay, so this is the plan that everybody has to work with. I think we can do a variety of different things for Kyle. It could be something very, very modest. It could be something more extreme. He doesn't actually say what he needs to do other than he'd like to be able to use that for a home office. But given everything, I think we could be able to give him a plan that has some various stages and some options in that. So if you feel like working on it, go ahead. And otherwise, you can tune in tomorrow to see what Matthew and I have to say.
See you tomorrow.